It is breaking news. It has been a very busy night. We have 4 brand new stories impacting Kentuckiana in this newscast for you tonight. Hello, everybody, and good to be with you this evening. I'm Doug Proffitt. First, the major breaking news coming out of the White House tonight. President Donald Trump announcing just before 6 o'clock that for the first time ever, every single new Apple iPhone and Apple Watch sold anywhere in the world will contain cover glass that's going to be made in Kentucky. Now, the $2.5 billion investment is going to be made into the Corning plant not far from Louisville in Harrodsburg, Kentucky, where Apple is creating a partnership with Corning there in Mercer County. Harrodsburg, just about an hour and a half south of Louisville. The announcement with Apple CEO Tim Cook, also in the White House tonight, turned into a promotion for doing business in the bluegrass.
And this is the largest investment Apple has ever made in America.
In the White House with the CEO of Apple standing right next to the president, Donald Trump, it was all about Kentucky.
And we'll build the largest and most sophisticated smart glass production line in the world in Harrodsburg, Kentucky, which is a great, actually, I did very well there. I like it because I see I did very well there. I did very well in Kentucky, but it's a great place. You're going to be very happy.
Apple CEO Tim Cook then explained the $2.5 billion investment the company is making into Harrodsburg, Kentucky. That's Mercer County, about an hour and a half from Louisville.
In Kentucky, we've worked with our partners at Corning to build the world's largest and most advanced smartphone glass production line. And I'm pleased to announce that very soon, this is for the first time ever, every single new iPhone and every single new Apple Watch sold anywhere in the world will contain cover glass made in Kentucky.
President Trump then asked Cook to show off the glass.
I'll interrupt my own speech by, you might show them a little bit about the product that you're going to be doing in Kentucky, Tim.
And this glass comes off the Corning line. It was designed by a U.S. Marine Corps corporal, a former one, that works at Apple now.
President Trump calling it a win for his America First plan.
The great people of Kentucky. You're going to find it a great place to do business, too. It's fantastic. Isn't that nice? We're doing these things now in the United States instead of other countries, faraway countries.
The investment will expand Corning's existing manufacturing plant in Harrodsburg. By the way, Harrodsburg's population recorded just last year is 9,500 people. The town is also home to Old Fort Herod State Park and the nearby Shaker Village Resort, an historic landmark whose original buildings once housed the country's third largest Shaker community. Now to the big day tomorrow for Jefferson County students. It is back to school. A big one, and Chief Meteorologist Mallory Schnell is here looking ahead to that important early morning forecast. Hi, Mallory.
Hey there, Doug. Hopefully all the kiddos are in bed because you're going to have that early wake-up call. Bus stop forecast tomorrow, though, looking good. Temperatures in the lower 70s during the morning hours. Some patchy fog possible. Partly cloudy skies by the afternoon. Staying warm and muggy with a high temperature around 90 degrees in Louisville. Right now we have a spread of temperatures in the metro. It's 74 at Bowman Field, 81 at Louisville International. Temperatures, of course, feeling a little bit worse due to that mugginess, but we are dry on the satellite and radar, so just worried about that potential for some patchy fog overnight. Otherwise, trending hot and dry through the 7-day forecast. We'll take a look ahead at the weekend coming up in just a bit, Doug.
Mallory, thank you. Continuing our coverage tomorrow and Friday, JCPS is greatly expanding its very important phone line if you have any questions and concerns about bus transportation or any other issues, especially in the morning, and you will be talking to a real live person. JCPS staff members are going to be manning the hotline tomorrow and Friday from 6 in the morning, again, very early in the morning until 7 each night. Those hours could be adjusted depending on the number of calls they actually get. You see the number on your screen. Give it a call if you need it. 502-485-RIDE, 502-485-RIDE. That translates to 7433. Well, it's also going to be the first year for brand new JCPS Superintendent Dr. Brian Yearwood. He sent out this special message today for students.
I'm looking forward to the first day of school because that will be my first day of school here in Jefferson County. Students, I hope you are just as excited and looking forward to see you as you begin your first day of learning and growing here in Jefferson County Public Schools.
Well, his day is going to start early, and with us here at WHAS 11, we are ready to bring you the best coverage in town in the morning. Don't forget to join our great team in the morning for Good Morning Kentuckiana. Each hour tomorrow, you're going to see live interviews with school leaders, and the brand new superintendent will be joining us with any news updates. GMK begins at 5 a.m. on WHAS 11, and then don't forget it continues at 7 a.m. Another hour on the free WHAS 11 Plus app with live coverage. Well, as JCPS is heading back, religious teaching during school hours is a possibility for Oldham County students. The board considers a partnership with a Christian organization. Some parents are voicing support, while a community group is denouncing tonight this option left open by new Kentucky legislation. WHS 11 Night Team's Jose Alonso and photojournalist Levi Hammer tell us more tonight.
It just feels like there's a lot of tension here in this bill.
Members of the Oldham County School Board got deep into discussing a new law that could impact their students.
We probably need to come up with a procedure for when this type of request comes in. This is the procedure that we follow, which we don't have.
The law in question is Senate Bill 19, which was passed by the General Assembly and sent to Governor Andy Beshear's desk. The governor then vetoed the bill, but legislators took a vote and successfully overturned that veto, making this bill law.
SB 19 allows public school boards to partner with organizations, even religious ones, to offer moral instruction to students if parents consent. This means students can be excused from school from up to 1 hour a week to attend a program off campus. It's a law with opposition.
That wall between church and state. And I think we need to realize that was put into place for a very important reason. And yes, I strongly believe, and so does our group, that we have to keep this separation.
But one Oldham County mother says she's all in.
We're Christian, and we really like the idea of having an additional enrichment opportunity. I know that they have said that it would be during non-instructional hours, which I think is awesome. You know, that way he's not missing anything. And so I just felt like this was a really great opportunity that's kind of being put into a bad light because of the criticism.
The group Kentucky Citizens for Democracy says the religious program the school is considering a partnership with, LifeWise Academy, is troublesome.
There have been problems with the data they have submitted. There have been problems with kids being bullied. And so us knowing that as a group, we're coming to Oldham County to say, please stop, really do a deep dive into this.
And that's what the board is doing, asking for guidance. Board Chair Carly Clem denied our request for an interview, but did say this.
We can put in that request to the AG's office on, you know, how exactly do we need to comply with this law, because we do need to follow the law.
With a lot to consider, religious teaching during school time could soon come to Oldham County kids. In Buckner, Jose Alonso, WHS 11 Night Team on your side.
By the way, we did contact LifeWise Academy to ask about this potential partnership and the concerns that their opposition raised. As of this newscast tonight, they have not responded to our interview request. Also brand new tonight, tensions are high for Clarksville, Indiana police officers. Now waiting a year and a half for a contract and negotiations, and still no word on any agreement. They're asking for higher pay as officers are downsizing on homes. They say they can't afford them with their current salaries. WHS 11 Night Team's Clarice Shaley shows us how a new state law in Indiana is really part of the holdup.
Especially as time has gone on, it tends to take a bigger toll on the morale.
Over a year and a half, Clarksville police officers have been negotiating for higher pay. Tension is rising. Their contract expired in January this year.
When you gonna vote?
Yeah, win.
Showing in big numbers to the town council meeting demanding a vote.
Every department around here has went to it. We're not trying to set the standard. We're just trying not to be left behind.
Tyler Jackson and Derek Crawford, both with the department, are spearheading contract negotiations as leaders of the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge, a police union. Right now, officers can move elsewhere in the county for higher pay, but the FOP is pushing for comparable pay to Sellersburg's police department. The Clarksville Police Department made 800% more arrests last year than Sellersburg. That's according to the FOP, and still make about $20,000 less than Sellersburg officers.
It's hard to to say, no, I've given 17 years of my life to protecting Clarksville. At some point, money starts to speak if families are struggling.
Jackson and Crawford say officers have been putting in applications elsewhere. Town manager Kevin Beatty says in the course of negotiations, there have been some unexpected hits to revenue that have made it difficult to come to an agreement. Currently, they're working through the effects of a new state law changing how municipalities collect tax revenue.
We know that we're going to have revenue shortfalls. We're going to have revenue cuts from the state. And we have to look at the bigger picture across the entire town.
If an agreement isn't made by the end of the year, the FOP's attorney says a third party will need to mediate the negotiations. In Clarksville, Clarice Shaley, WHAS 11 Night Team on your side.
Beatty says the next time the council could have a conversation about the offer is during the August 19th meeting, which FOP members and their attorneys say they will also be there. Brand new since 6. The prison sentences are beginning in the Crystal Rogers case. Steve Lawson, the first of 3 men convicted today, getting 17 years from the judge today in Bardstown. Lawson found guilty of conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with evidence. That happened back in May. WHAS 11's Alexandra Goldberg and photojournalist Jessica Farley are back from Bardstown after the late afternoon sentencing.
Entering the Nelson County courtroom, a smiling Sherry Ballard, confident that a judge would deliver a tough sentence to Steve Lawson. But first, Lawson heard this.
In July 2015, you made a choice to be a part of planning the murder of my niece, Crystal Rogers. You could have prevented all of this from happening if you'd just gone to police and done the right thing.
Mike Ballard in the courtroom speaking directly to Steve Lawson, the accomplice in the murder of his niece, Crystal Rogers. Crystal's sister, Brooke Bryan, echoing Mike's message, you should have come forward.
Your silence took Crystal's life and my dad's.
Nobody searched for her like her dad, Tommy Ballard. And you knew Tommy was a good man, and you knew he was out searching every day looking for his daughter, but you didn't care.
You could have stopped this. You could have saved her life, and we wouldn't be here today.
Steve Lawson did not speak, silent the entire time as Judge Charles Sims delivers his sentence.
Total sentence of 17 years.
Lawson was found guilty of conspiracy to commit murder and evidence tampering. His sentence in line with the jury's recommendation of 17 years, though the maximum penalty for those crimes is 25 years.
I hope the court gives you the maximum sentence possible, though it will never bring Crystal back and never be enough.
I hope every day you spend in prison reminds you of what you did. You took away her future. For what? Money? All of Brooks's drywall jobs? Things you did not have and things you'll never have.
I want to ask you to look at Crystal's family, look at her kids, look at Sherry. Don't you think they need to know where their mother's buried so they can have peace and at least lay their mom to rest?
The family facing grief and fighting for justice for a decade. Watching the trial play out, prosecutors bearing the burden of proof. Lawson's attorney Darren Wolf in opening statements in May.
Remember where that rock starts. Do not move it over there until they bring in evidence that supports the movement of that rock.
I'd like to thank Shane and Teresa Young and their team for moving the rock. That's all I got.
Lawson leaving in shackles for prison. Sherry Ballard leaving the courtroom solemn, knowing her daughter's ex-boyfriend is next in line. In Bardstown, Alexandra Goldberg, WHAS 11 on your side.
Lawson has the right to file an appeal within 30 days. Brooks Houck and Joseph Lawson will be sentenced next on August 21st in Nelson County. Houck, the ex-boyfriend, was found guilty of Crystal Rogers' murder, and Joseph Lawson was found guilty on the same charges as his father: murder, conspiracy, and evidence tampering. WHAS 11 legal analyst, Louisville attorney Nick Mudd was with us again earlier tonight in the 5 o'clock news here on WHAS 11. I asked him if Judge Charles Sims would do the same thing for the sentencing of Brooks Houck and Joseph Lawson.
I think it's a good indication that he's going to be consistent. He's going to follow the jury's recommendation. I don't see why he wouldn't. He's certainly not going to deviate from a life sentence that Brooks Houck got. I mean, it couldn't go any higher based on the situation presented. It's not a capital case, not a death penalty case. But there is no way that Judge Sims is going to deviate from that, and I do not see him deviating from Joey Lawson's case either.